Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. It's the Mind Reprogrammer. Today's topic is one that touches my heart deeply because it's a question I've been asking myself for a very long time. And the question for today's video is, do we need a spiritual teacher to reach enlightenment? Now, I'm first of all going to break down the definitions of some things so that we're on the same page about what it is I'm talking about, because everybody has their own conceptualization of what I mean by spiritual teacher and realization or enlightenment. Enlightenment for me, first of all, means the ability for one to integrate the full capacity of their soul into their body, and there's no distinction between who they are as an individual and as a soul. I remember I've spoken about it before in another video. What do we mean by soul? How to connect to God? Check that out. And a spiritual teacher for me is somebody that has already attained a certain level of enlightenment or realization. Therefore, they're able to assist you on your journey of reaching that goal. But let's just cut right to it straight away. Do you need one? Of course you don't need one. No one needs anything. And it's important to remember that. You do not need anything in this life. Everything that you do go and get and everything that you do want, that's your choice. And never forget that. But for me and my journey, I can say, yeah, I've had a few teachers along the way, but I have to tell you, and you're not going to believe who it is. The most greatest teacher I've ever had and still continues to bamboozle me. Just wait for it. Life. Life has been my greatest teacher. And not only has it been my greatest teacher, it is still teaching me. When we think about this idea of a guru, this idea of somebody that can take you through into the divine, into God, into Christ consciousness, life has been that for me. Life has systematically taken me through experiences that no one else could take me through. Life has made me learn so many different ideas, so many different theories, so many different experiences that I know that life is the greatest teacher. My interactions on a day-to-day basis with people, the way that life creates different people to come and meet me, the way I interact with people, those are my greatest teachers. And life in general, I have to give an honesty, I have to say it. Life is the greatest teacher I've ever had. And life is still teaching me. But along the way, it's important for me to make you aware that when you decide to take this journey, when you decide to take this path to the trueness of who you are, when you decide to truly begin to ask that question, and I've spoken about it before, that question of who am I? And it becomes your full-time job trying to crack that puzzle, life will begin to bring people to you. Because I'm a big believer of what you focus your attention on, it has to grow. So an example, let's say you're looking at blue cars online, you want to buy a new blue car. Guess what? All of a sudden, you see blue cars everywhere. That's exactly what I mean. The capacity for your mind to funnel attention for you to be able to see what you want. So if you've made it your goal to find the creator, but not only to find the creator, to align the creator and become an aspect of it in full manifestation, life is going to bring some people along to you. And I want to share with you guys the few people that life has brought to me on this journey of enlightenment, realization. And it's important to remember as well, an enlightened person never says they're enlightened. Never would they say that. Because they themselves know that the real guru, who knows everything, they cannot even begin to comprehend the intelligence that it manifests as. But like I'm saying, I just want to share with you guys about 4 people that have really touched my heart. That on this journey of realization, of knowing who I am in truth, they have been doorways to allow me to access deeper aspects of myself. And the first teacher that really blew my mind open, that made me really ask myself this question, is it possible for us to do this, was Yogananda. You see, when I was about 20-something, in my early 20s, I was reading the biography of Steve Jobs. And I was reading that book, I was in that stage of I need to get rich, I need to learn how the rich people make money, I need to find out what it is they do to get rich. Like, that was my only goal. I had no other goal apart from that. I stumbled across, whilst I was reading the book, how Steve Jobs had one book on his iPad. And that book was called The Autobiography of a Yogi. I immediately disposed of this Steve Jobs book and I picked up The Autobiography of a Yogi. And I read that book back to front, front to back. And that book opened my brain and it opened my heart in such a way that even till to now, I'm still in the presence of that energy. Because Yogananda explained very clearly that it is your birthright to know God. It is your birthright to be connected to God. And not only is it your birthright, there are people walking on this planet who have attained such levels of realization. Remember what I said? I grew up in a Christian home. I grew up believing in Christ. I grew up believing in the church. So I never really got to see this idea that the seed and the spark of Christ is indwelling in every human. Therefore, if one is to light it up like a candle and it begins to manifest and burn everywhere, you can also become that. Because I grew up in the church knowing that you got to go through Jesus, and Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. And remember what I've said, I made a video about the distinction between Jesus, the personality, and the Christ, which is what he became or what he was. But that's another topic. But like I'm saying, through being and learning what Yogananda was saying, I began to come to the realization that, wait a second, I am way more than I could even begin to conceptualize. And another part that completely blew my mind open when I was reading Yogananda was the amount of saints the man was meeting. And when I say saint, let's take it with a grain of salt. A saint is a person who has actualized the full capacity and potential for their soul to inhabit inside of their body. Meaning that when the soul is fully manifested in the body, crazy stuff starts to happen. You start to be able to control the elements of nature. You begin to be able to control matter. You start to be able to control all manner of things. And I was reading this book and I started thinking, is this guy writing a book that's a bloody comic book? Because it was so crazy, the stuff he was saying. The miracles that I just could not believe. Because I had forgotten that life in general is a series of miracles. You see, once you can begin to get yourself to a certain realization where you can begin to bow down before the face of the Creator and honor and have a connection to that presence, things begin to happen spontaneously. And in this book, I cannot tell you enough. The stories that he shared and all of the series of events that brought him to this country or to America, where he set up his own practice and created the Self-Realization Fellowship and taught for many years. And that book really inspired me. You see, it inspired me to the point where I wanted to become a monk. Because I realized that when you have a connection to the Creator, you don't need anything else. You don't need money, you don't need cars, you don't need fame, you don't need fortune. Because that feeling of connection that you so truly desire, that feeling of connection that will make you feel alive every morning, it's enough. It fills you up. You're drunk on bliss. And through reading that book, it opened me in such a way where I began to believe that actually I can attain a certain level of realization. Because for a long time, I didn't know how. And through learning, through reading, through meditating, and it was in that book as well that I learned about the power of meditation. He spoke about his meditation called Kriya Yoga, which I don't practice. But at the same time as well, he explained the importance of meditation. He explained the importance of living in alignment with the Creator and living a fulfilled life that allows you to feel empowered, connected. And through reading that book, through reading that text, my whole life changed. And I can say hand on heart, that was the book that opened the door for me to be able to be here right now, sharing with you. The second teacher that has honestly revolutionized my existence, and you guys are going to get so bored because if you watch any of my videos, I bring them into the video, and it's by a man called Paul Selig, and he works with a group of energies called the Guides. I can say hand on heart, that book, the series of the book, have systematically taken me to certain levels of realization that I couldn't begin to comprehend that were real. You see, I grew up a quite sensitive person, but through working with these texts, so many different things have happened to me. And I don't want us to feel like having spiritual gifts and powers is the way for you to take control or do things from the ego. But I must say, from reading those body of work, my empathic abilities have become absolutely crazy. The capacity to do energy work on people and the Creator to use me as a vessel to do healing has also increased as well. And I know that it wasn't them as a person that allowed me to step into those gifts, but they were the doorway for me to work with them. And I can tell you, Paul Selig's books, all of them, reading it from the beginning all the way to the end, and we're expecting a new book in August, The Kingdom. Like, whew, you know what I mean about The Kingdom, go check that video out. The series of those books have changed my whole life. Words cannot begin to explain how me as a person, who I am now from when I was then. You know, they were the ones that taught me the trueness of connection through attunements, through understanding that there's an idea of the ego and the idea of the true self. And when you can begin to connect to that aspect of you that's true, the whole game changes. And because they are at that level of realization, they're able to be the door for you. You know, there's a quote that they usually say when they're working with Paul, and it says, "We are who you become when you know who you are." And I think that quote there encapsulates what I mean by a spiritual teacher. A spiritual teacher knows who they are. And because they know who they are, that can allow you to begin to know who you are, because that's what it's supposed to be. And another teacher, surprisingly, and this teacher is really weird, because I stepped into this teacher through their student, Ram Dass. You see, I'd heard about Ram Dass a lot when I initially began to wake up and go into this journey of realization. But I didn't really understand his work and go into his work until he transitioned into the spirit realm. And through him, I was able to discover who his guru was, which is a guy called Maharaji. And my oh my, even though this man is not alive, even though this man is not here anymore, whew, I have to say, when you read the books that his disciples have written about him, this was a realized man of God. There's no other way to say it. The ability for him to touch your soul, even as I say it now, is like I can feel the presence of his energy, the presence of deep, profound love. It was through him that I was able to read about Maharaji and begin to learn certain ideas that I knew already. Everything that these teachers are saying, they're not revolutionary, they're not brand new, but it's about the flavor at how they say it. And I found through reading Maharaji's book, Miracles of Love, and another one, systematically broke me into pieces. It broke me into pieces for one point. You see, I believe that, remember what I said, the ultimate guru, the Sat Guru, is life. And when life sees that you're knocking on the door, you're banging on the door, you want to come into it, you want to know it, you want to develop a relationship to it. You see, it opens up the door for you and it brings people to you. And it brings people to you in a type of way that allows you to begin to know who you are. And Maharaji came into my life at a time when I've been working quite deeply on myself, and I've been doing the deep spiritual work, you know, and I've been doing it attentively, daily, and attending to it every single moment of my life. And when he came into my life and I began to study the work, he completely revolutionized my thinking, because this was a man who would insult people, take the piss out of people, joke with people, laugh. You see, he made spirituality for me something that doesn't have to be so serious. You see, I think for a long time I've taken it very serious. Like, yes, I need to know God, so for that reason I have to do this and I have to do that. No, he broke it down. He used to take the piss out of his disciples. He used to run away. He used to lie. But remember, the common denominator was love. And for me, that was what I kept on forgetting. That it doesn't matter the mistakes I make. It doesn't matter the things I do wrong. At the end of the day, if love is the undercurrent, if love is my intention in everything I do, then I'm washing the whole world with love. And he used to have one quote that really touches my heart, and it's Sabek, it's all one. You see, sometimes we forget this. When we're in the chaos of existence and we're banging our head through life and we're getting upset and we're getting stressed out and we're getting all frustration, we forget that we're all one. In the trueness and the coreness of our being, we are all one. There is no disconnection between anyone. Remember what I said in another video, it's the ego, the small self, that believes it's connected. The true self knows who it is. Therefore, it knows that it is fully connected to everybody. And if you're fully connected to everybody, you can't do something wrong. You wouldn't offend somebody, you wouldn't hurt somebody, you wouldn't cause pain on somebody, because you know that they're simply a mirror of yourself, because you're looking at them. So how can they be different? And there's another thing that Maharaji taught me as well. Him and Ram Dass were once sitting on a bench and they were watching the whole world go past. And he said to him, can you not see that it's all beautiful? Every single thing happening is beautiful and it's meant to be happening. You see, that's a hard one for me, because we've got people starving, we've got people suffering, we've got people really in deep pain on this earth. And for you to begin to see that it's all perfect, that takes a certain level of realization. But if this man of God can tell me that we're all one, then I have to believe that without a shadow of a doubt, yes, it's all perfect. You see, every single thing that's happening on this earth, it's your decision on what you believe about it. But I believe that there's a reason, there's a purpose, and there's an understanding. And I believe that you cannot see the picture when you're in the picture. You can only see the picture when you're out of the picture. And when you think about this whole entire matrix of creation, you have to be able to zoom yourself out and look at it from a higher level. And if you're looking at it from a higher level, you might see perfection rather than chaos. You see, we're always going to see chaos because we're always going to be a part of the project. If you're a part of life and you're part of the experience, you can't really see properly because you're out. You see, once you zoom yourself out, you might be able to begin to comprehend the perfection of existence. I would definitely advise you to go check out these 3 teachers that I've said. And the last teacher that has really changed my life, and it's hard for me to have to even say it, but I'm no longer working with that teacher anymore because I felt like on my journey, it was time for me to make that step and transition to another level or transition to another aspect of myself. It's a man called Igor. You see, I met this guy through one of my friends, and there was a lot of hype around him from my friends saying, yeah, you know what, go check him out. And I was really stubborn because I was working with the guides, and I'm still working with the guys, and the work hasn't changed. The work is the same. But I went to go work with this man. And my God, I have to be honest, in my short 27 years of living, this is the most realized man I've physically seen with my own physical eyes. And it was powerful to be in the presence of this person. I can't explain what it is that he had or what it was he could do, but he had definitely attained a certain level of realization. When you used to be in his presence, you would start to feel cold or you would start to feel hot. The room would just start to become really energetically lifted. He had a very powerful gift to be able to induct you or initiate you into a type of meditation or spirituality which he calls the will system. I have to be honest, if you want to meet somebody in the flesh that has the capacity to give you experience of any form of spiritual realization in the physical flesh, I would recommend you go to Igor. I'll put his link down on the link below. He had a gift to be able to activate within your heart a seed of deep, profound love. I was drunk of love and ecstasy for like 2 weeks straight when I did a meditation with him. He broke open my heart in type of way that when I would listen to music, my eyes would start to water uncontrollably. When I would watch flowers, my eyes would water uncontrollably. He literally touched the depth of my being. And I met this man through a friend. And along the way in life, you will come to that realization that some people, you meet them for an opportunity and for a lesson. And it's up to you, once your spirit says to you, move on, for you to pack your stuff and go. And even though these people can be absolutely amazing individuals that change your whole existence, remember what I said, the real guru, the Sat Guru, is life. And not only is life the guru, life will be consistently moving you across to meeting the right people, to knowing what you have to do. And when you get that conviction in your heart that it's time for you to let go of a teaching, it's time for you to let go of somebody, let them go. And I know it's hard because I've been in that process where I needed to leave, or I was in a relationship with somebody and it wasn't working well. And I know I needed to break up with that person, or we had to separate. But there were so many reasons why I couldn't. You see, remember what I said? Life is the teacher. And when it's time for you to move on, life will forever tell you that it's time to move on. You see, I made this video today just for us to discuss a few different ideas about life being the real teacher. But as you do this work and you begin to go on that journey, life is going to bring to you people that will open you up in ways you can't imagine. You see, I'm still on the journey. I'm not there yet. And I make these videos for other people on the journey, because maybe you're there or maybe you're not there yet. But if you are on the journey, please check out these people's work, because for my life, it changed me. And not only did it change me, it allowed me to begin to access deeper aspects of myself that I didn't know existed. You see, sometimes I sit down and I conceptualize in my head, how is my life like this? As I talk to you right now, if you can tune in, the way the energy is burning in my heart, you would think that my soul is on fire. And that's what I'm talking about. When you do the work and you do the work properly, you get gifts along the way. If you got this far in the video, you know what I'm going to say. I love you. And not only do I love you, I appreciate you for getting to the end, for watching the video, and for taking time to remember that the ultimate guru, the ultimate spiritual teacher is life. And as far as you're on the journey and you're alive, you're learning. So please, never forget that. Have an amazing day. Thank you.